Hello. Today, me and David are going to present our economic analysis of advanced micro devices. AMD stands for Advanced Micro Devices, and this analysis is to show whether or not AMD deserves to be invested in, if their ratios are good, and pretty much if they're doing good as a whole as a company in today's economy. We will analyze statistics such as the market, economic growth, stocks, working capital ratios, return on asset ratios, account receivable turnover ratios, and asset test ratios. And these ratios judge whether or not either their liquidity is well or how well they're doing in today's economy. And this project will teach us how to analyze a company and see the company's performance in numeric values. Advanced Micro Devices is a semiconductor company that develops computer processors, motherboard chipsets, embedded processors, graphic processors, and other computer equipment for the public sector and the business sector. As you can see in the list below, these are different technologies and graphic card and softwares they supply to the public sector at the current economy. The company started out in May 1969 by Jerry Sanders and 7 other people, breaking off from the Intel company. AMD first developed their product in November 1969, and it was pretty much a reverse engineered product from Intel. And they entered the public sector in September 1972, coming out with one of their first new products, the AM9300. It was a shift register and it was made for businesses doing accounting. Their first microprocessor was made in 1976. And they also got a copyright license from Intel. In 1977, they made a joint venture with a German company called Siemens, which allowed AMD to increase its product lines. The two companies later made Advanced Microcomputers, AMC, which opened the door to microcomputers and microprocessors. 2 years later, AMD bought out the American location from the German company and closed AMC in 1981. In the 80s, AMD and Intel signed a contract with IBM to produce processors for their new PC. Jumping all the way to 2006, AMD acquired ATI Technologies for $403 billion in cash and 58 million shares in stock. ATI produced graphics processors, and in 2008, AMD went into another joint venture with the government of Abu Dhabi, creating the Global's Foundation Incorporation. But soon after that, the recession hit, and AMD cut thousands of jobs, continuing from 2009 to 2014. And in 2014, they received a new CEO named Lisa Su, and she restructured the whole company as a whole, but also had to relieve 7% of the company's jobs. After that, they've been slowly rising back up to the top and competing with Intel and other companies as well to the top.
AMD's market. The markets that AMD serve are gamers, YouTubers, streamers, digital editors, businesses, and etc. These consumers are willing to throw thousands of dollars into building the best PC money can buy. In their market, their competitors are Intel, Nvidia, Qualcomm, and Synopsys. Their products are mainly used for video editing, recording, streaming, and high-quality graphics. We will go into more detail on that last bullet when we talk about their demographic. Industry description. The semiconductor industry is a small industry, having only a handful of players in it, such as Nvidia, Intel, Qualcomm, and Synopsys, like we mentioned in the last slide. Currently, this industry is a growth industry, meaning that as more technological advances are discovered and happen, this leads to industry growing with it as well. Consumers always want the next big thing, and when the company comes out with it, the market just wants it. and now they're considered an industry leader in today's market. With their new CEO, Lisa Su, she was able to bring the company back from bankruptcy back in 2014 and now making it a industry leader in today's semiconductor market with her innovations and leadership skills that she was able to bring to the company when she came on. AMD's demographic. Here is shown in the top left is one of the biggest streamers right now, Shroud. In the top right is one of the largest YouTubers right now, PewDiePie. In the bottom left, we have our pro CSGO player, Stewie2K. And on the bottom right, we have our average consumer building their own PC. Top streamers like Shroud usually tend to have two PC setups, usually one for streaming and one for the task that they need to do, which is usually in Shroud's case, gameplay. They do this because streaming takes a toll on the PC in general, so it's usually best to have one PC for that specific task and one PC for the gameplay that he's doing, so, to ensure that the best viewing pleasure is given to the people watching him. On the other hand, Stu 2K needs a PC that will run well so that he can perform at his very best, whether it be on LAN, in competitions, or even on online tournaments. These two people, their livelihood depends on their PC. If their PC cannot function the way that it needs to, then they can't make money. And if they can't make money, they can't buy products. If that happens, that leads to AMD's demographic decreasing as well. The average consumer, shown right here, wants the best products that their money can buy. For someone like me, whenever I built my PC, I wanted to know which parts were the best for my price range. As you can see, this person is building their PC with all their parts shown. AMD usually tends to bring the best products at the best price. So when a cheap consumer that has not a lot of money to spend needs parts that they want to be able to make their PC perform, AMD is usually an industry that is looked at. AMD stock. The graph shows how AMD stock performed over the last 6 months. In just 6 months, AMD stock has been doing pretty well. AMD stock has been slowly going up with one large drop down until the market as a whole took a dive from January to March. The price that the stock usually runs for is around $50 to $60 range. Although it's not doing as well as their other competitors, like Nvidia for example, one thing you have to note is that they just came back from the brink of going bankrupt back in 2014. In addition to this, from 2003 to 2008, they cut thousands of jobs just to stay afloat. All these things were made possible when the company decided to get their new CEO, Lisa Su. This person was responsible for bringing AMD back into the playing field and making it a fierce competitor in today's market. When she came on, she restructured the whole company and made them better than they were before. So although AMD stock right now is not like Nvidia's in terms of success, you have to consider that this company has made tremendous strides and is still one of the top competitors in their market. In, in today's world, they are continuing to innovate and change the way things are done in the industry.
Here is AMD's balance sheet. A balance sheet is a financial statement that reports a company's assets, liabilities, and shareholders' equity at a specific point in time, and provides a basis for computing rates of return and evaluating its capital structure. Here is AMD's income statement. An income statement is one of three important financial statements used for reporting a company's financial performance over a specified accounting period. Income statements primarily focus on companies' revenue and expenses. AMD's return on asset ratio is the net profit divided by average total assets, and they do not meet industry average, but are slowly getting back to average from a large hit the company took in 2014. This could be interpreted as AMD not being as profitable as the industry average and not utilizing its assets as well as the industry average. AMD's current ratio or working capital ratio is the current assets divided by current liabilities and is almost up to industry average. The current ratio shows how liquidity the company is and how fast they could pay short-term expenses and maximize assets. AMD has enough cash or cash equivalents to pay immediate liabilities but still falls slightly below industry average. AMD's account receivable turnover ratio started above average but is below average currently. This shows that AMD's credit process is poor or the customers are not creditworthy. The account receivable ratio quantifies how effective a company is at collecting money owed to them. The ratio doesn't always mean AMD has a poor credit system. Their customers can be untrustworthy or inconsistent with their debt. AMD's acid test ratio is currently above average and continues to rise. The acid test ratio is similar to current ratio, and it shows how the company's short-term assets can cover their immediate liabilities. It is more useful than the current ratio because it ignores long-term assets such as inventory. But if AMD's account receivables takes longer than the acid test ratio, then this graph might not be accurate and it might not depict AMD's financial situation.
Results and conclusion. We believe that investing in AMD would be a good idea. They are on the come up, they are in an ever growing market, they have a new CEO, and they are innovators. With their new CEO, Lisa Su, they were able to come back from bankruptcy back in 2014. In addition to this, they are innovators. They offer the best and cutting edge microprocessor technology. They are easy to upgrade and swap, unlike their other competitors' products. Their purpose is to ensure that the company is working efficiently, producing quality products, staying within legal guidelines, and keeping the corporation's money in check and being well spent. Also, this is an ever growing market, meaning that when technology advances in this industry, they advance with it as well. As new discoveries are going on and happening each and every day, that means that profits, income, everything will increase as well. With this investment in mind, we do believe that this is a high risk, high reward investment. It is a good idea because AMD is constantly rising up with their competitors, such as Intel and Nvidia. But one thing to note is that they had such a high asset test ratio, meaning that their current assets are able to cover their current liabilities. In addition to this, they are still recovering from a large hit back in 2014 as well. Another thing to note is that with the outbreak of COVID-19, businesses overall have taken a hit. So these are some things to consider when investing with AMD. These are the references that we used. Thank you for listening and watching. Have a great day.